As I mentioned last time, most lessons, when we get back together after a week, will be a complete review of what we've done before. Naming the string names, naming the notes on the frets, playing all through our chords, any songs we've learned, reviewing everything you've done in a way of modeling that that's how you should be practicing, that you would want to go through this checklist every day when you practice. At a certain point, you may not need to do some of the things anymore. GCEA may be so second nature you don't have to tell yourself that anymore. Maybe you have to go backwards though, from top to bottom, and name that you have A, E, C, and G. Work on all of these things as you can. When you get too good at one thing, you can start to push it off to the side and let the newer items replace it as you keep advancing forward. But review and repetition is the key. Saying these things out loud as well is one of the main things you want to do. Even writing them down. Most people don't do this, but if you're trying to learn something, one of the best skills is to write and draw what you've done. We're designed to be literary learners. One of the reasons colleges are banning laptops is because typing out the lecture notes doesn't actually help you to learn them nearly as well as writing them by hand. There's an actual link between the physical writing and drawing and our memory. So you want to do that even when you're trying to learn a new instrument or anything else for that matter. All that said, I'm not going to review everything we just did in the last video, which was a review of the previous 4 or 5. But these are the things we were working on: naming the strings, naming the notes in the scale, practicing a couple of songs that we've done. Last time I did Hot Cross Buns as a review. This time I'll do Mary Had a Little Lamb. We're operating with the notes E, D, and C only. So Mary Had a Little Lamb was like Hot Cross Buns, E, D, and C, but then another D, and 3 E's. So E, D, C, D, E, E, E. Mary had a little lamb. 3 D's. Little lamb. 3 E's. Little lamb. If you wanted to jump to a G and you're not happy without it, you can go little lamb from E up to G. That's one option, but you don't have to do it. In most books, that melody is called Merrily We Roll Along instead of Mary Had a Little Lamb. So anyway, we've arrived at those 3 E's. We're repeating the first part now. E, D, C, D. Now there's 4 E's. Little lamb, it's 2 D's. Fleece as, and then a Hot Cross Buns, E, D, C. White as snow. I'm not writing it out again. Like I said with Hot Cross Buns, you have this in a previous lesson. This is something you should practice just as I did, naming the notes as well as playing them. E, D, C, D, 3 E's, 3 D's, 3 E's, E, D, C, D, 4 E's, 2 D's, E, D, C. And then go through all your chords. Every time you practice, run through them, do them in the order that we learned them. C, C7, F, G7, and C. C, C7, F, A minor, D minor, G7, C. Today I want to use the A7 chord. A minor has your finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. When you learn chords, you basically learn this picture. It's like a little snapshot. You should be relating it to your ukulele though. That finger is on the G string, 2nd fret. What comes after a G to get into that 2nd fret in music would be the A. So in that A minor chord, we're going to hold this A note. That's A minor, which we use to get to D minor, or A minor to F by adding the pointer on the F note, or adding the ring finger on the D makes it D minor. That was A minor. The A7, happily, is another 1-finger chord. That note is on the 3rd string, 1st fret. You should hear some nice tension on that. We talked about the dominant 7 chords, A7, G7, and C7. Their actual names would be A dominant 7, G dominant 7, C dominant 7. We just eliminate that term dominant when we're saying their names. That chord has a really cool tension to it, which wants to get you to your D. In this case, we only know D minor. It gets to D minors just as well as it does to Ds. G7 got to Cs. And and C7 created dissonance that resolved us to Fs. So we're starting to learn some relationships between our chords. C7 is resolving to F. G7 or G is resolving to C. A7 is resolving to Ds, in this case D minor. And if we work out their relationships, say from C to G, C, D, E, F, G, G's the 5, where C is the 1. The G7, the 5 chord in the key of C, with a 7 on it, G7, wants to get you to C. In F, F, G, A, B, C, C is the 5. So C7 creates the tension that wants to get you back to F. 5s resolve to 1s. In D, D, E, F, G, A is the 5. So an A7 wants to get us to Ds of some sort. We'll go to D minor for now, that's the chord we have. So learn your chords, learn their names, learn the notes in the chords. There's a C note in a C chord, an F and an A in an F chord. Don't forget the open notes count. So F has another A note, this open string, and C, this open string. The C chord has open E, C, and G. The G7 chord has this B, an F, a D, and an open G. Try to learn all the notes in your chords if you can. That's not your first priority. Learning how to play them, how to get from one to the other, and how to name them is the key. Learn also the relationship now. The chords come in packages. 1s and 5s travel together. F songs have C chords. C chords like to get you back to Fs. C7s especially. C chords travel with Fs. And G7s, because G7's the 5, which lands you back on C. Ds, or D minors even, can hang around with A minors. A minor could be the 5 of D minor, but you hear it has no great push back to the D minor. They're just pretty together. A7, on the other hand, will color us back to D minor. Then you can put them in these progressions. I'm going to go around here again from C to C7 to F, to A minor to D minor to G7, like we did earlier. C7 leads to Fs, to G7, which leads us back to C. This time I'll put A7 in instead of A minor. Listen to the extra tension it brings. C to C7, which leads to Fs. A7, cool color, to D minor, G7, C. So that was the pattern: C, C7, F, A7, D minor, and G. So that's the direction they'd like to go. Practice them all together. Any chord you're having trouble with, say a D minor to a G7, practice that move over and over and over again. Eliminate all the others for a while and just work on whatever chord change is giving you difficulty. Notice when I go from D minor to G7s, the pointer finger stays. It's called an anchor finger. These fingers, which are on the 3rd and 4th string, will separate to the 1st and 3rd strings. Come together on a lower string, separate them higher. I could do Fs to G7s, G7s to Cs, and so on. Any 2 chords you get, you can put them together in these little rehearsal packages. And let's leave it at that. 1 new chord for today and a little bit of review again. Talk to you guys later. Bye.